Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another Tech Bites episode. Today, we have a very special episode for you all for National Intern Day. We have our intern takeover. My name is Zaneb Zafar. I am one of the product strategy interns.
I'm Vedanth Chari. I am the other product strategy intern.
For our regular viewers, my office that I'm tuning in from may look very familiar. That's because I'm tuning in from no other than Rick Vanover's office here in Central Ohio. Vedanth, where are you tuning in from?
I am tuning in from San Jose, California at my cousin's house, actually. I know it's a little bit of a weird location, but that's currently where I'm at. If everybody else in the comment section could just tell us where you guys are tuning in from. I'm guaranteeing not a lot of people will be there from California, but
Maybe we'll see some from. We've got
we
Rick
have
from Maine.
a lot of people from Ohio as well. Okay, that's pretty good. Yeah. Yeah, so now that we know that most people are from Ohio, so nice to know where everyone is from. So now let's let everyone know what we're going to be talking about today. So up first, we'll be talking about our dictionary project. This is a team group project that both me and Zaneb worked on over the summer. Then after that, Zaneb will be talking about the AI future of data resilience. Then after that, I will be talking about overall data resilience and Veeam's data resilience. But before we start all this fun topics that we're about to talk about, Zaneb, why don't you introduce yourself first?
I would love to. I'm a rising fourth year at The Ohio State University. Go Bucks. I'm studying industrial and systems engineering. In my free time, I like to read, do Lego sets, and hang out with my friends whenever I can. I'm also a huge matcha fan, and I love to try coffee shops in the Columbus area or wherever I might be. I included pictures from the infamous Ohio State games. You can't beat the spirit in those football stadiums. And I also included a couple pictures of me and my best friend in the Boston Harbor and a really good matcha that I tried while we were there. Vedanth, can you tell some stuff about you?
Course, I love talking about myself. So the first thing about me is I'm a rising junior from Rutgers University, studying finance and business management. And probably my favorite things to do are probably play basketball and travel with my family. I've been to over 20 different countries with my family, so yeah, trying to increase the amount of countries I visit to. So yeah, as you can see on the bottom left, that photos me and my family in the Himalayan mountains, and on the top right, you can see that's me and my family in Australia. And then on the bottom, that's just me and my friends in New York City. So love traveling, huge travel guy.
You know, we got more in the chat too. Jada says, "Go Bucks." I totally agree with that. I don't know about you, Vedanth. I'm a total Buckeye, of course. We have Diego joining in from Brazil, and Uzma says, "Hi from Cleveland, Ohio." A little more about your slide, Vedanth. I noted that you put a picture of us at the intern summit that we had a chance to attend in Alpharetta this past June. I think that was my favorite experience that we had this whole summer. The opportunity to, network with each other, get to meet each other, of course, and all the other interns coming from Canada and the rest of the US, especially meeting Brooke, Meredith, and Shelby, and getting the opportunity to meet them and, Veeam employees in the office. What was your favorite part?
Obviously, had a great time in Atlanta too at the intern summit. Getting to meet some great people and all. But I also had a great opportunity to go to the AWS Midwest Conference in Indianapolis. So getting to know them, getting to talk, just hearing all the industry leaders talk. And at that time, that was my first week at my internship too. So getting the ability and the opportunity to talk to them and hear what they had to say was really important and really insightful and really helped me throughout my entire internship process, because now I look at things and see, oh, that's something that we talked about in Indianapolis. So yeah, something that was really helpful.
Yeah, I remember when you came back and we talked for hours about, your experience, and I'm really glad you had it. I also noted that you just said that you went to Sydney with your family. I think something is happening for Veeam in Sydney now.
Yeah, so VMon conference is happening in Sydney right now, and surprising that's exactly where I took that photo too, right outside of Sydney. So great how things correlate sometimes.
Okay, we can't talk about ourselves the whole show, but we actually have to talk about what we did this summer here at Veeam. So our first project had to deal with communication through abbreviation, if you will. We had the chance to take an Excel sheet and integrate it into SharePoint. dictionary page. And so we started that out by building an automated approval workflow using Power Automate, which connects this abbreviation submission form on our left-hand side directly to the SharePoint dictionary page. So as new term submissions are routed to an authorizer for review before anything is added to the actual page. So this means only approved terms are going in and no manual data entries and no unreviewed submissions are happening, which is a good thing because no one's having to go in and have to do every single abbreviation themselves, and no abbreviation is showing up twice.
So one of the great things about this is that it gives employees access to the meanings of these technical abbreviations all in a centralized platform. And you have the ability to filter it by first letter and vendor. So it makes it easier for you to find your abbreviation as well. And overall, it helps in communication, helps in employee training. And I can't say how much it's helped me throughout this entire process to just getting to know these different abbreviations and their meanings.
Here we have our dictionary in motion, if you will. As you can see from the get-go, you're allowed to organize by the first letter of the abbreviation. As well, on our left-hand side, you can see a filter by vendor option. So you can go through like VMware, Veeam, Microsoft, and tag every abbreviation to that. Throughout the summer, like Vedanth is saying, that we had the chance to start with 900 abbreviations in an Excel sheet. And as we went our first couple of weeks, more and more abbreviations would pop up. I think we just talked about how every time we went to a meeting or a webinar, something was abbreviated, and we would have to go later, talk to each other, or Google stuff to figure out what exactly it meant. So everyone tuning in, like, give us an abbreviation you think that we may not have in this dictionary, or you think it's important for everybody to know.
Remember when we were doing this too, like it was every single time I attended any meeting or webinar, especially the first 3 weeks, it was like almost like I had no clue what these abbreviations meant. So having a dictionary like this is so useful and really important for not just for interns, but even for experienced people, because again, there's over 950 abbreviations on this list. So yeah. And Zaneb, specifically for you, was there any abbreviation that stood out for you? Because I had a couple. I was just wondering if you had any like certain abbreviation that stood out for you.
I liked it, like we talked about before, and you can see from our demo, there was so many that stood out, and there were so many that we had a chance to add as we went on. But I definitely think that one that stood out to me was VDP, Veeam Data Platform. I think right off the get-go, when we were learning about Veeam's products and everything that goes on with the company, VDP stood out to me because of all it has to offer. Was there anything that stood out to you?
Yeah, there was I can't name a specific one because there were so many, but
Mhm.
yeah, especially in the chat just now, Kirsten just said advanced encryption standard. That's still something that I don't know. See, there's like so many different abbreviations, and like it takes a long time. It's over like as again once we said like there's over 950. So yeah, probably
Mhm.
can't choose one, but yeah, there's definitely a lot of them.
Going back to VDP, I actually did a little bit of research into VDP 13.1 with the malware deep analysis agent. So this is not the same as malware detection. Detection is the engine that scans for threats. This agent is a part of Veeam data platform, like I said before, VDP, and it determines what it finds and tells you as a Veeam customer what you can do about it. So it detects unusual activity and maps out what exactly is going on. It can tell you where exactly it's happening and what you can do next, and it can start a malware scan directly from the chat box. It points to the log entry and nearest clean backup. And I have on the right side here just a simple prompt that I use to summarize the last anomaly detected in the environment. And this is just a little snippet of what the agent is able to give you. It's just giving you when it, like I said, when it was just detected for the first time, and what you can do next. And it turns situations where you think as a Veeam customer you got hit and it's a scary situation into here's exactly what's affected and what we can do next. With that being said, a little bit different, the deep data analysis agent is where I looked next. And this is available in Veeam Backup and Replication 13.1. Same thing here. I just have a little bit of information. You're able to ask a report a question in plain language, and the agent is able to go back and find the answer and what you can do next. It handles really large reports. There's no need to rebuild on your end, and it works in both the Windows and web consoles. Same exact situation here. I just have a little snippet and the prompt that I use to tell me more about what's going on in this report and recommendations that the agent has for me to go next. And it turns situations where employees are having to rebuild things from scratch and it's a manual chore into conversations that they're able to have with that chat box. Now, how does AI actually work behind both these things? That's Veeam Intelligence right there. It's the assistant behind both agents, and it runs on Azure OpenAI service. Now, there's three different modes that go into that. There's the basic mode, which draws Veeam's official documentation and support articles. It's no direct access to your environment, so it's just looking at Veeam's documentation, and it's on by default. The advanced mode can see into your environment, not just the Veeam documentation. It sees into things like your infrastructure, job status, configuration, and it powers both agents that we just talked about. Now, there's a third option as well, disabled. It turns off entirely. There's no chat, no agents, and nothing being sent anywhere. It's the same engine, just different levels of access. So as a Veeam customer, you choose how much it can see or when to turn it off. Now, with that being said, that may ask a question, does Veeam read your data? Not quite. What's actually happening is through the different modes, different things are happening. So with the basic mode, like I said, the default mode, it only searches through Veeam's own documentation. It's never touching your environment. The advanced mode makes read-only API calls. The same public REST API admins can query themselves. So each call or each question that you're asking it, it's only pulling the information that it needs to answer your question. It's not taking a bulk export of information out. And what it doesn't do is it's not training the AI model on your prompts that you're giving it or your answers. It's not sharing your data with OpenAI or Veeam customers across the world, or it doesn't remember past sessions, for example. It's each chat that you start is a fresh, clean chat. So that brings into why people disable it, like usually it's not a safety concern, it's more policy. Some teams disable it for compliance requirements, data governance rules, or just caution while they evaluate what's going on in their environment. Now, all this AI talk, where is Veeam going with AI? Now Veeam calls itself the Data and AI Trust Company, and that's because in Veeam on New York, in May this year, we launched the Data AI Command Platform, which adopts the Data and AI Trust Company identity. Also at Veeam on New York, we unveiled Intelligent ResOps, which connects data context recovery powered by the Data AI Command Graph. Now in Veeam on London, in June, we announced new agentic AI privacy capabilities that are built on that Data AI Command Platform. And for the 10th year running, Veeam was named a leader in the Gartner Magic Quadrant for backup and data protection. With that being said, also, Vedanth was also just in Sydney. Today, we launched VDP 13.1 at Veeam on Sydney. Now, Vedanth, that brings up a really good question. How do you use AI in your daily life?
Well, obviously, I think a lot of us are a lot more reliant on AI now, especially because it's so smart and what it can do. Like a simple way that I started using AI in my daily life is instead of on my emails, you have like an AI system where you can check. It summarizes your emails. It shows you the email by priority and other stuff like that. It's also really good for research when you're just trying to get links to something. It's all just pulled up right there. So yeah, it's like I obviously use AI for a lot more, but I'd say these are the most prominent ones that I use it for. So it's always like, how reliant we are on AI now is pretty it's pretty good because it makes us a lot more efficient.
Yeah, I agree. I'm wondering for everybody tuning in at home, how do we use AI on our daily basis? I think personally, me, but not like you said, I use it for a lot of things. We had the opportunity to go to college during the AI boom, if you will. Claude is a really good tool. ChatGPT is a really good tool for organizing your Google Calendar or, like you said, fixing emails and just, getting efficient as you can as a college student.
Yeah, those are great because it's always about you always need these things. It just makes you more efficient. It's always great to be using AI, and AI is always it's made our lives a lot easier.
I think I see it too with a lot of college students as we're, growing into our professional careers. The new move is how can we use AI for our advantage and how can we improve our skills with AI?
Exactly.
Make sure everyone at home, if you have ideas of how you use AI, make sure to tell us in the comments. Jeffrey says he uses AI as I have used internet searches. That's a really good point. That's kind of what we said. It's turning into like the new Google search, I think, honestly, with how people use it and how often they use it.
Jeffrey says
I,
it's taken over for me too. That's
yeah.
it's very valid. That's what a lot of people say. Yeah.
Now, Vedanth, can you tell us actually more about data resilience for Veeam?
So when we talk about data resilience, we're really talking about the ability to protect and recover business critical data consistently across very complex environments. Because today organizations are managing data across Azure, AWS, Salesforce, and other platforms. So maintaining separate protection strategies for each environment is very complex and adds a lot of risk. So Veeam's approach was to provide a unified platform that simplifies protection and recovery across these workloads, which allows organizations to align recovery objectives with business priorities, ensure critical applications receive the level of protection they require. At the same time, logical separation between the production and backup environments helps strengthen the cyber resilience by helping safeguard the recovery data. And when we look at SaaS applications such as Salesforce, for example, organizations can implement granular protection policies and frequent recovery points to minimize the data loss. So ultimately, the industry is moving from beyond just like traditional backup tools to a more unified resilience platform that combine protection, recovery, governance, and operational simplicity. So no longer is the goal just to back up the data, it's to ensure that businesses can continue operating and recover confidently when any disruption occurs. Now, when we talk about recovery, right, there are many solutions that can create backups, but what organizations really need these days is confidence that they can successfully recover applications and services whenever a disruption occurs. So basically, the industry is increasingly moving towards automated recovery rather than manual recovery processes. So recovery orchestration helps simplify this by enabling organizations to build more repeatable recovery workflows through intuitive recovery plans rather than relying on complex manual procedures. Equally important is providing the recovery plans will work before an incident occurs. So automated documentation and readiness reporting provide evidence that these plans have been configured, validated, and tested. So beyond just simply checking whether the data exists, it helps you verify that application and infrastructure are functioning correctly after recovery. So the strategic shift is going from backup success to recovery confidence, so organizations can recover quickly, more consistently, and have the documented proof of readiness when it matters the most. So also we can talk about recovery orchestration because this is where data protection involves into really true business resilience. So if you look at it, there are many solutions can recover individual workloads, but they need repeatable and automated processes that can recover entire business services, including the applications, infrastructure, and the entire business of workflow. So a key differentiator is the ability to validate and prove recovery readiness before an outage occurs. So automated plan definitions, readiness checks, and execution reports help organizations document recovery preparations and provide evidence for stakeholders, auditors, and leadership teams. And recovery validation also extends beyond basic integrity checks by helping verify that applications and infrastructure are functioning as expected and actually recover properly. And if you look at it, Veeam supports orchestration across multiple protection methods, including backup, replication, snapshot, and CDP, providing organizations with greater flexibility when designing their recovery strategy. So the industry overall, we can see, is moving from beyond just simply restoring the systems. The real objective is proving that the critical business operations can be recovered quickly, consistently, and with confidence.
Vedanth, you bring up a really good point about the automation. We actually have a couple comments relating back to my portion about AI. We have Brooke saying Claude Cowork is her best friend in Excel. I think I've seen that on the rise. A lot of people are using that in stuff like, PowerPoint and Excel. We also have Zane saying, in my current role, I use for threat intelligence, vulnerability analysis, detection, writing. The malware agent would be something that could be utilized by a lot of companies as cyber threats continue to increase. I really agree with that. What do you think, Vedanth?
I also agree with that. It is more efficient, right? Like going back to
Mhm.
efficiency, and you want to be as efficient as possible, especially in this world where AI is just making everything so efficient. So it's really important that we go ahead and actually embrace it to continue on with it.
Now, going back to what you were saying, Vedanth, can you talk about the Veeam Data Cloud again?
So when we talk about the Veeam Data Cloud, recovery is ultimately about reducing business disruption when any incidents occur. So frequent recovery points help minimize data loss across critical workloads, while advanced recovery capabilities such as search, comparison, and clean recovery, as well as self-service options, help the organization restore their operations more quickly. And another important consideration is the operational simplicity, something that a lot of people forget. because organizations these days want solutions that are easy to manage, more cost predictable, and are very secure, that don't require too much administrative overhead. So the strategic difference is often not whether the recovery is possible, but how efficiently organizations can achieve it. And Veeam focuses on delivering enterprise-grade recovery outcomes while maintaining a simple operational experience, helping customers accelerate time to value without sacrificing any resilience. And once again, going back to simplicity, it's super important being simple because you can have as many features as you want, but if people are confused and don't know what to do with it, then there's no point in offering so much if they don't even know what they're doing with it. Now, finally, when we talk about compliance, now the cool thing about compliance is it's become one of the really the newest trends today that's shaping the data resilience market. We have new regulations today, such as NIS2, DORA, and there's also new AI governance frameworks that are increasing the expectation that organizations have. So the focus is no longer on simply having backups in place, but organizations must continuously demonstrate control over their data and prove they can recover it when it's needed. So Veeam approaches compliance through recoverability and validation, helping organizations produce evidence that recovery plans are configured, tested, but most importantly, they're ready to execute. An automated readiness report, execution reports, and what another cool thing is malware scan reports really help reduce the operational burden of audit preparation when you're trying to improve visibility and governance. And we look at compliance ultimately, it's evolving from what used to be just a small regulatory checkbox to a proper resilience requirement where now every organization is expected to prove that their data is protected, recoverable, and auditable and governed at all times.
Vedanth, I'm thinking now, this color looks really familiar. Does anybody have any guesses of what this color may be a signal for?
Yeah, so funny thing is, I actually learned recently that blue is usually used for, it's called Trust Me Blue, actually. It's used for something like enterprise technology, right? So yeah, that's one of the cool little facts that you learn from working in an industry like this. It's always new, something you learn every day, whether it's relatable or not. All right, thank you everyone so much for tuning in. We hope you have a great rest of your day. Please make sure to check us out on LinkedIn and Veeam socials and connect us on the Community Hub. Thank you, Zaneb, for being such a great co-host with me. And thank you everybody for listening.